Now, a lot of people think that it is dangerous to receive gifts from fairies. I don't think that that is the case. There is a difference, though, between fairy gifts and fairy transactions. Both gifts and transactions enhance relationships.
If you would like to learn about fairy folklore, delve into modern fairy faith spirituality, and explore fun and fanciful fairy-themed events, please subscribe to Fairy Fortunes for new videos every Friday.
Hello, my fair friends. I'm Ruby Ruse, and welcome to Fairy Fortunes. I just did my anniversary video reaching 500 subscribers. I did a makeup tutorial on my fairy makeup that I do for festivals, so I do hope you will go and check out that video. I was on TikTok. I know. I talk about TikTok quite a lot on this channel, but I really like it. It's fun. I was watching TikTok and I saw multiple videos on parents struggling with their children, particularly teenagers. And a very classic punishment that people seem to do is that they take away their kids' computers and cell phones and toys. Clothing was another thing that I saw a parent taking away from their child. And I just wanted to do a brief commentary on that, coming from a fairy faith perspective. Now, a lot of people think that it is dangerous to receive gifts from fairies. I don't think that that is the case. There is a difference, though, between fairy gifts and fairy transactions. I think where the difference lies, where humans get confused with fairy interactions, is that they don't understand the delineation between gifts and transactions. A fairy, for example, when they present a transaction, you can say no. You do not have to accept the transaction. And a fairy will honor it because it is a demonstration of integrity. I cannot reciprocate this transaction, so I'm going to say no. A person should have some choice in the matter. In all relationships, there should be equal parts transactions and equal part gifts, because a relationship depends on exchanges. Hey, you help me with this and I'll help you with that. That's part of building a relationship, right? But relationships are also built on just gifts. The only expectation that you should have behind a gift is that you just wanted to express your affection for that person. There is no expectation beyond, I just want to express to you how much I care about you and how much you mean to me. And here's my grief with parents and their children. Are you giving your children gifts? Or when you give them something, is it a transaction? For example, it's very common for a parent to use social media and technology as a form of punishment. If a teenager especially gets in trouble, the first thing that is taken away from that teenager is like their cell phone or their computer. There's nothing necessarily wrong with that, and that definitely can be a very poignant punishment for a teenager. But here's the thing. Did you articulate to your child that the cell phone was transactional? Or were they under the impression that it was a gift? Because that can damage the relationship if you are not clear with that. That's the whole danger between interactions with fairies and humans, is that it's not that transactions are bad. It's not that they're dangerous. when there is not a clear understanding between gift and transaction, you can damage the relationship because your integrity is in question. The reality is that not all fairy spirits are benign. Many are malevolent. They do use misunderstandings between gifts and transactions to their advantage. That is true. And that's a question for human parents. Do you want to be seen as a malevolent fairy, or do you want to be seen as a parent of integrity? It really bothers me as a person that practices fairy faith spirituality when I hear parents say things like, well, I paid for it. Yeah, you paid for it. What was the expectation to that transaction? And if you weren't clear about that expectation, how can you expect your child to follow through with that expectation? And if the child was under the impression that this was a gift, taking it away from the child just tells your child that they can't trust you, and they will always be suspicious of everything that exchanges hands between the two of you. And you, as a parent, have the responsibility to communicate expectations with your transactions. And know, once you give a gift, it is not yours to take away. That item belongs to the child. If you take a computer and you wrap it up with sparkly paper and you put it in front of your child on their birthday with all the trappings of a gift, and then the moment that your child displeases you, you take that computer away, that is not acting with integrity. Period. If you intend to take something away for punishment, the best thing to do is communicate that it is not a gift, it is a transaction, and that there are expectations that go along with that item. But if you display it as a gift and then you remove it from your child, you take it back and say, I paid for it, it belongs to me, you are in danger of damaging that relationship because it shows that you are not using integrity. But isn't the relationship with your children, isn't that a relationship worth protecting? Isn't that a relationship that's worthy of your integrity? Doesn't it warrant explaining that there's a difference between transactions and gifts? So if a cell phone is going to be a form of punishment between you and your child, that is perfectly acceptable. There's nothing wrong with having transactions. They are a part of relationships. But you need to communicate that to your child so that you do not damage that relationship. But if you give them an article of clothing, if you give them a piece of jewelry, if you give them a computer, you don't get to take that away without consequences. So I think parents would be better served if they understand the difference between gifts and transactions. And don't be afraid to call out a fairy. Is there an expectation behind this? What do I need to do in exchange for this beautiful item that you've given me? At which point the fairy will have to tell you the truth, yes or no, if they want to protect their integrity, which they often do. And with that, my fair friends, have a magical day.